a severe flooding due to the unusually heavy monsoon rains. So this typhoon is just going to make things worse.
Indeed, and that is a big concern. The stronger this typhoon remains after it leaves Taiwan and gets to China, it's going to exacerbate the problems that are currently going on in China. Because the storm's taken a more southerly route, it's a possibility that it will still have some intensity left by the time it gets there. But at this point, there's not too much else to say as we wait, and we continue to wait until landfall. Green Island, the English name for the island off Taiwan, which is right next to the eye on that radar imagery. That is just on the edge of the eye there. It's almost a landfall. And they'll certainly, the few amount of inhabitants on there, Stephen tells me it's 2,000, will be experiencing the worst conditions on land, quite possibly, from this storm. At least in terms of wind speed, in terms of flooding, it might be a whole different story for a whole different location. At the top of this hour, let me remind everyone of what the warnings are. The time currently is 1 minute past 4 in China and in Taiwan. Just past 5 o'clock in the morning in Japan. And here at Force 13 HQ the time is 9:02 PM. There is a typhoon warning in effect for the whole of Taiwan, including its offshore islands, except for one, and that is for Lianshan County. It includes Kinmen County and Penghu County that are just off the Chinese coast as well. Kinmen County is, at least. And we have heavy rain warnings for most of the country, or the area, and I'll read these out again with the rain values expected, and this time I'll read them out in millimeters, which I believe is the unit of measurement that is most often used there. In New Taipei City, it is expecting, if I could figure it out at least, quite a lot. It is expecting up to 350 millimeters. In Taipei City, it is expecting up to 200 millimeters. In Taoyuan City, it could be as high as 350. In Miaoli County, the same. In Taichung City, the same. In Changhua County, 200 millimeters of rain. Yunlin County, up to 350. Tainan City, the same. Kaohsiung City, up to or exceeding 500 millimeters of rain possible. In Kinmen County, up to 80. In Keelung City, up to 350. Up to 200. Yilan County, possibly up to 500 or higher. Hsinchu County, up to 350. Hsinchu City, up to 80. Hualien County will probably see the most amount of rainfall anywhere and has already seen 160 and is expected to see in excess of 500 millimeters of rain. Nantao County could see 500. Same with Chiayi County. Chiayi City may see up to 200 millimeters. Taitung County could see over 500. Pingtung County similarly, and Penghu County up to 200 millimeters of rain. The storm is less than 30 miles from landfall, and we will stay with you until that occurs, and possibly for a short time afterwards as well. That's the sound of John, but he's quite muted. Speak up a bit there, John.
Oh, my mic was moved out of the way.
Go ahead.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Updated the radar.
Mm-hmm. And there it is. So, you may hear a few gaps in our commentary. That's just because quite often we're searching around for more things to tell you and to bring to you. So, I hope you'll understand that.
In the meantime,
yeah, let's go back to the Rams. Well, look at Blas first, and then we'll take a look at Ram's latest imagery on Nepartak, if I may, John. And Blas might be not finished yet, looking at that.
it's definitely pretty circular. I think I might be going through a little under phase of just hanging on, per se.
That's probably all.
Got a little bit of life left. It's not done yet. Nepartak, on the other hand, is just the land interaction is beginning to kill it.
Of course. But it's still probably got winds of 140 miles an hour, maybe.
Yeah. Barely.
And if you do have any questions for us, if you want to know what conditions to expect in a particular location in Taiwan, for instance, or indeed in China, do let us know, and we'll do our best to answer your questions. That's, after all, what we're here for, to serve the viewers, to keep everyone informed in the best possible way. And of course, if you have suggestions on how to do that, we're all ears as well. This is Force 13 live at 7 minutes past 4 local time, as Typhoon Nepartak is about to make landfall in Taiwan.
Heading ever so closer. It's. I mean, I think I said that at least 20 times now.
Well, it's been true 20 times as well.
The latest frames look like the convection has significantly diminished.
With a wind speed expected 142 miles an hour, actually, you know something? It makes this storm weaker than Deshen was when it made landfall.
How strong was Deshen when it made landfall?
145. Interesting. I thought I'd have to go a lot further back in time to find a storm that was as strong as this at landfall. But of course, that Deshen hit northern Taiwan rather than southern Taiwan, so I'll see how long it's been since a storm hit this particular area at this intensity. And that's just what I'm looking at through the records right now whilst we're waiting for any news. And Taiwan had a pretty bad decade in the 2000s. In 2008, it had a Category 4 landfall, a Category 3 landfall, and a Category 2 landfall in the same year. In 2007, it had a Category 4 landfall in October, nearly a Category 4 landfall in September, and a Category 3 landfall in August. 2006 it did pretty okay, though a Cat 5 passed just to its north. 2005 it got hit by 2 Category 3s, I believe, or yes, 2 Category 3s and a Cat 2, so these storms do make landfall quite often, though I'm still yet to find a particular storm that was like this in where it is hitting. Going back to at least 2005, a storm hasn't hit this area at this intensity, and I'm going to keep going through until I find one here.
Clearly.
2004, another Deshen passed just south of the southern tip of Taiwan as a Cat 4. but apart from that, nothing. And really, you would have to go back to 2000 with Super Typhoon Billis, which made landfall in a similar location as a high-end Category 4. Which I thought until now that operationally it made landfall as a Cat 5, which I would have disagreed with, but as it happens, it did make landfall as a Category 4, which I do agree with. So this storm is very comparable actually to Super Typhoon Billis of 2000. And if I was to bring up some stats about Billis for you, just quickly. Billis caused 71 fatalities and $668 million of damages. And most of that occurred in China, believe it or not. Taiwan, despite getting hit by these big storms, usually doesn't have too many issues, relatively speaking, compared to China. So again, this may be another one that proves that point, particularly with China's bad flooding situation right now. John, tell us about TD4 since it's on your screen.
It's looking a little bit better now, but I would say that it could be a tropical storm by later today, if not tomorrow morning. It's looking, the organization is getting better.
It is, though it was looking just as good yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or if not better.
I know.
Well, yesterday was very great. Well, the TD was looking very great yesterday, and today it's ugly, but as John said, it's gaining organization. So it could possibly attain tropical storm status tomorrow, early tomorrow. I mean UTC time. Possibly, I'm not sure, but it has some chances.
Yeah. Look at Bloss. Definitely not looking as good as it used to look. This is crappy visible. We should probably go to RGB instead. Where's my Bloss floater page? There it is.
The eye is getting more and more obscure looking at Nepartak, but we'll get back onto that in a minute.
I'm having too many. I have too many floaters open. Bloss is currently tracking over 27-degree water right now, so it's definitely in an area where it's not going to do too well as a major hurricane. All the day now, day has broken over the system, so the system is definitely in contention for a little bit of maintaining intensity, or if not, maybe a slight buff in strength if it can get its act together. But as it seems right now, I think Bloss is going to hold on to major hurricane intensity for at least one more advisory. Let's take a little look. Let's take a backseat look at Nepartak right now. His frames pretty much saying that is really close. I mean, it's getting to the point where
we should look at radar.
Exactly. I need confirm landfall via radar instead of satellite, because satellite is just lagging too much. And I love satellite, it just lags too much.
Oh, and the radar won't show at all.
There
loading. Got it. And you look at that. I don't know how far Green Island is from the coast of Taiwan, but it's getting really close to landfall. I'd suggest about 25 miles without knowing conclusively.
Green Island's in the northern portion of the eye.
Yes, indeed.
He's gonna hit what city it's going towards. What is it called?
Yeah, Taitung City.
You think it's going to be a direct hit on Taitung?
I believe so, yes.
Head on?
The way the storm is going, Taitung may well get the eye. But it's difficult. If anything, the eye will go south of there. But I really don't think that's going to happen. Looking at that latest frame, I think it's going to stay west-northwest. It would have to move due west now for the eye to avoid the city. So that's a city of 100,000 people, which I would say has an 80% chance of seeing the eye.
Clearly. Here's the topographic overlay right here.
And you can certainly see the terrain doing its work.
Definitely.
It's a huge buffer.
Really big buffer on the system. I wish I kind of had what's the word? A location of all the cities on Taiwan. That would make things a lot easier. I'll let you guys look at RAM for a bit. I'm gonna go find some imagery in a minute.
Well, we'll cross over to the latest picture from Force 13's tracking map. There you can see it on your screen. Storm just off the coast. A category 4, as you know by now. We expect winds of 142 miles an hour, a pressure of 928 millibars, 22.5 degrees north, 121.5 degrees east as of 15 minutes ago. It was 29 miles east-southeast of Taitung, and it's probably down to 25 or even less at this stage. And the imminent landfall, you will see probably within an hour
and we
or
got
two.
eyewitness account here on Twitter. iCyclone says 4 a.m. violent winds, stuff breaking, signs, tin, debris flying, screaming, yikes! If this ain't the eye wall. 973 millibars. Yikes.
Yes,
also, we got a wind
proceeding
estimate
to fall there, yeah.
from our camera view a couple about 15 minutes ago. We had a live camera here. Greg Postel thinks the winds were 70 miles per hour from the camera view we had, so definitely getting pretty strong there. But I think Nathan, you said
higher than that.
Nathan thought they were 90.
I'd have thought it was about 100.
Ooh, if it was 100, I'm not sure if he would have been able to stand.
Well, he was in shelter.
Good point.
You wouldn't have been able to stand if you were out on the parking lot there or the road. Well, you'd stand with great difficulty.
Yeah. Anything above 100 is usually you can't really stand in it. Because the air gets so dense because of the strong pressure differential between one side of the winds and the other side of the winds. Because how winds in a tropical cyclone work is based off a pressure differential. So this pressure differential just basically means that the wind that's hitting your face, per se, is really dense. Because it's just getting squeezed in between these isobars as a system. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
It's really what drives these storms is pressure differentials, really. And the tropical waters of the U.S. Pacific, obviously. Breaking from the United States, severe thunderstorm watch in North and South Carolina till 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
Wow.
So yeah, we got a couple thunderstorms over here because
David,
of the
it's
really humid conditions.
Any news from your end there, David?
Following Nepartak on Twitter, not much information. It's just showing a bit of that
it will
imagery.
take some time. Yeah.
Take some time to filter in. Here's the latest frame.
Yeah, indeed.
Eye is completely diminished. It'll probably disappear, but when it makes landfall, this is gonna make it really hard to determine if it made landfall or not. If the eye just disappears.
I doubt it will on radar.
Yeah. We'll still be able to
Even so,
partially make it
you'll
out.
get a good idea looking at the circulation, where the circulation is.
The loop's being stubborn. It's not loading. There we go. Definitely heading west northwest right here.
As it has been
Isn't
doing
it?
the whole time.
Hasn't changed a bit from its track. It hasn't deviated at all. It's gonna be a pretty strong landfall.
Not as strong as it could have been. In just a moment we will have some new information on its location and how far from landfall it is, which we now expect could be in the close proximity of Taitung City.
Yep.
And I can tell you now that it is 28 miles from Taitung City, which is pretty much the closest point on land, apart from Green Island, to the centre of the storm. So it's going to be a little longer yet until its landfall.
It's currently bearing down on Taitung City. It seems it's getting ever so closer to that landfall. Social media is definitely, it's kind of trickling out ever so slowly. I'm looking at Twitter myself. It's kind of scary how I thought now I have a Twitter account. I never had one before. I mean, I usually don't do Twitter. But I got one now, so I'm gonna go check out, see what the Weather Channel says about this system, because they always say some interesting things about it. I heard Orlando pop in here.
He's been here on and off all day.
Yeah.
There was a slight break today with the heat wave over here. We had like a passing by rain shower, and then it just afterwards, you can't even see any sign of any precipitation that fell today. I'm gonna see if I can find any satellite imagery of Nepartak.
Yes, well, we're going to probably concentrate on the radar on John's screen at least, as it gets ever closer to the landfall, and you can see that very small green island, which the eye is just sidestepping around, it would seem. Ooh, just about into the eye.
Yeah.
That is an island on the edge of the eye there in those last few frames.
The Eye Island. Haha.
Yeah, quite possibly. And we'll keep giving you news about how much rainfall is falling. And I'll say that in a minute.
Nathan? Martinez Julian says the eye looks dangerously close to Taiwan.
Yes, it is. So far, at one location, Jinfeng, which is in Fuli Township, Hualien County, which is north of the storm, there has been 185 millimeters of rain reported in the last 4 hours and 10 minutes. That is 7 inches. So 7 inches of rain in just over 4 hours, so almost an inch every half hour.
Looking at the Taitung weather buoy. We got a wave height of 7 meters. The wave direction is going east. We got a 16 meter per second wind speed, which I can convert from 16 meters per second to miles per hour. So
Doesn't
give me a
sound
second.
like much.
Yeah, probably about let's see, 50 miles an hour, maybe 60.
If that.
Let's see, it's pushing. Actually, 35.
Yeah.
So tropical depression force. So how depressing. A pressure of 983.7.
Well, it can't be near the center of the storm.
No, it's not near the center of the storm. It's just a weather buoy that's pretty much
Do you know its
outside
location?
The location,
In latitude?
Taitung.
In longitude?
I wish I knew.
Oh.
It's a weather buoy near Taitung, so maybe you can estimate that's pretty close.
Well, it should be much lower than that if they're already recording low 970s in Taitung itself. Because if it's just off the shore of Taitung, it'd be even lower, surely.
But that was a 3 o'clock reading, so the 4 o'clock reading hasn't
It'll
come
have
in
only
yet.
gone lower, John.
Yeah. So I'm waiting for the 4 o'clock reading to come in.
Oh, that was the 3 o'clock reading.
Yeah.
Ah, sorry. Yes. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, we can't wait for the 4 o'clock reading in that case.
4 o'clock reading, I'm thinking I'll have a estimated pressure around
970s.
970s or even
Oh,
960s.
Maybe. Winds, who knows?
It really is bearing down on Taitung.
Indeed.
That island's pretty much getting wrecked right now, to be honest.
And the rainfall amounts just keep increasing and increasing. Stephen says I should click on yesterday to present, though it's actually more hard-hitting if you look at it today to the present. In 4 hours and 20 minutes, nearly 200 millimeters has fallen at Jinfeng in Hualien County. That's nearly 8 inches in 4 hours and 20 minutes. And it's rising quicker every time we look.
Oh my gosh.
It's going up at an exponential rate, I'm assuming.
Well, I wouldn't say exponential. You'd have the whole ocean dropping into it.
Yeah, well, I'll probably be able to make a curve that represents that, but, I don't feel like doing math right now.
Skyrocketing is certainly what you could use there.
It's going up at a somewhat exponential, somewhat linear pace, I guess.
How can you say somewhat exponential and somewhat linear? It's like somewhat science there, John.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll take a second derivative of that graph later.
Nepartak somewhat has an eye.
The eye is,
That's actually
what's
sort of
black?
correct, actually. Because his eye is fading.
It's
Exponentially.
literally fading fast. Well, that eye's gotta go fast, I guess.
Certainly he's going. Oh,
Yeah, it is
and,
definitely fading away.
Oh my, do look at the latest RAM image, John. Have a look at the latest RAM image. It's just, the mountains have literally taken a slice out of the storm. Take a look at this, everyone watching. The last frame, look.
Oh, look at that.
Literally taken a slice out of the storm.
Nice slice.
Oh my.
Now,
Eek.
if that's proof that mountains kill storms, that's
I don't
probably the
know what
best
is.
proof you've ever seen. They're certainly doing their
Why
job.
Can't you just spare Nepartak? All I want to do is just hit China.
Sheesh. It's like someone cut a hot knife through butter.
Mm.
Oh my gosh.
Definitely pretty much cutting into it really good, I guess.
There's not much left of the eye.
I gotta say, if it gets any closer, I'm not sure if the storm will be able to see proper.
And at half past the hour, my latest intensity estimate is now 138. So it's dropped below 140 for the first time. It's still a Category 4, but weakening as we speak.
Oh dear. I hope it just makes
I've-
a Category 4 landfall.
It looks like someone just took a chop out of this storm. I mean, I'm surprised we're not seeing any. Well, actually, never mind. I guess the mountains are actually definitely acting like blades to the storm's
Absolutely.
convective bands. They can definitely, I can definitely see a complete loss of convection and a complete failure to restructure as soon as it definitely pops over the small area sea between Taiwan and China. I don't think we're going to see a lot of strength coming out of it after it does go through the mountains, because like I said before, those mountains are
Unless it stalls, I don't think it's gonna reorganize.
it'll probably get wrecked, and then it'll have a little bit of time to get its act back together. But I don't think it's gonna get its act back together. We're gonna be seeing a mess of a storm coming into China.
As you
Lucky if
usually
it's
do.
things-
Unless,
lucky if it's a strong TS or a Cat 1, if anything. I mean, it would be lucky if it's a Cat 1, but the weaker the better, because people in China don't need these winds
Rain.
and rain. Look, I'm also pretty curious that the southern side is pretty much unaffected by this. It's literally like a huge contrast between the northern and southern side, where the northern side is just getting cut by the mountain sides of Taiwan, and the southern side is just untouched essentially.
I wonder if there were any storms that actually hit Taiwan from the opposite side, unlike how storms usually do.
Well, it's happened once or twice, but I'm not sure there are any strong ones. But it's happened once or twice.
Back to the radar. To the radar!
Yeah, it's better to...
Oh my.
Punch in my face. Alright. I punched myself. Nice.
What?
I punched myself.
Why did you?
Yes, I'm literally the laughing joke of Force
I
13.
think you need to pinch yourself more like.
Oh, am I reading that time right? It's the time on the radar image is 4:20.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And now it's 4:32.
I thought yesterday I was gonna actually miss the landfall, but I guess it decided to slow down for me.
It really did slow
No.
down.
It did. Its forward speed took a hit. I think it's more evident on the radar how the storm's rain bands are getting sliced by the mountains. If you can look ever so closely at the later frames, you can definitely see the wedge definitely cutting into it. Actually, maybe not. It's maybe the radar is telling a completely different story. Then
Well,
again,
no,
the radar.
a lot more rain will fall on the mountains, won't it?
Well, it looks like
Not much
it
is
looks
going to
like
get past
there's
it.
lighter rain over the mountains. As you see, the rain bands are actually starting to get wrecked.
Ah, but a lot of those mountains are pretty close to the coast, actually. They're not dead
Also
central
looking at-
over Taiwan. They're a bit displaced
Also
east.
looking.
So.
Yeah. It looks like this radar is telling a story at the lower levels, where the satellite's telling a story at the mid to upper levels of the system. I think we can all agree on that one.
Yep.
Again, if it, whatever is on the southern, whatever area is on the southern side of the eye wall here, it's gonna get drenched. Too.
Definitely.
What's that island to the south of it? What's the island that we thought was gonna hit first, but it didn't? It missed to the north.
The one to the south that's really under that red zone. Yeah, that's Long Silence Island.
I think that island.
Lan Yu
I
Island.
don't know
Lan Yu.
what's on that island.
Yes, lol, long silent island, haha. The red, yeah, that island's pretty much being drenched right now. Yeah. That's like 55 millimeters an hour, it looks like. Yeah.
Oh my.
That's like 2 inches an hour. That's pretty strong rain band.
we assumed it was 55 millimeters an hour. It might not be. But whatever it is, it's bad.
I think
God.
really. I think it's actually more, possibly more rain.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I think we're going to see landfall around 5 local time for them. I think we're going to see landfall around 5.
Might be a little bit later than that.
Yep.
Is there, and, does anyone know when the high tide is over there?
No, not really.
Well, any coastal regions are going to be facing storm surge regardless of high tide or not.
Yep. Pretty much.
Continuing coverage on Typhoon Nepartak. Force 13 live. The time in Taiwan is 4:36 a.m. We will continue to stream until landfall, which we expect will come within an hour from now. Elsewhere, we have Hurricane Blas, which is slowly weakening, and Tropical Depression 4, which aspires to strengthen.
But sadly, it hasn't had the chance to.
Now, I'm really seeing a conflict here, because
Which one?
on the... Oh, goodness. That radar imagery doesn't seem to represent what the satellites are saying.
That's a discrepancy.
Well, it appears that on the satellite imagery, the eye is hugging the coast of mainland Taiwan, which would suggest less than 10 miles to go.
Oh, yes, it does.
Must be scale distortion.
I guess that's the upper level, so I'm not for sure.
Well, that's
odd.
Well, the satellite imagery is up to date to... Well, if you look at the NOAA floaters, it's actually more up to date than the Himawari right now, John. Look at the NOAA floater. Well, everyone watching it on your screen, you'll be able to see at my end here on Force 13 Live. Let me blow up that image so everyone can see a little bit closer these last few frames. Now, I think there is another frame that has just come out after that. So, I don't know why that is not appeared yet on the version that you're looking at, but it's due at any time, and it will show that the storm is virtually making landfall. Actually, it has just come out. So this image that you're looking on your screen right now will update now, and now you will see on the last frame, there it is, very close to a landfall, it would appear.
The radar is telling a totally different story.
The radar telling a totally different story, and you can see it also on John's screen in a different format. There it is. So that is very interesting. Who is right? You'd expect the radar would be right.
I think the radar may be right this time.
But the next question is, why is the satellite wrong if that's the case?
Maybe the radar is glitched. Right back.
But then we got to look at the timestamps, and when was that last radar timestamp?
Oh! Right.
Now that...
Okay, my chair fell over.
Oh, for goodness sake, John. That radar is actually 30 minutes more up to date than that satellite image, so you got to believe the radar and that the eye is still significantly off the coast. But that satellite imagery is very, very interesting. Well, maybe it's an eye that's not an eye. Maybe there's rain occurring in the eye.
I'm just as confuzzled as you are.
But what must be certain from the radar, what we can deduce from this, is that the centre of the eye is still well offshore, even if part of the eye is now onshore. So we can say that the storm still has not made landfall and still has some ways to go about that.
Clearly. Refreshing the page here, hoping for a new image. And do I get a new image? Nope. Nope. No new image. No new
minutes and you get a new image on that.
I can't wait. I need imagery now. Okay, I'm not gonna whine about it. I'm gonna go back to the floater, which seems to be
4:30 in the morning in Taiwan. It was 10 minutes ago, and at that point, the first place reached 200 millimeters of rainfall today. So in 4.5 hours, Jinfeng has reached 206.5 millimeters of rain. That's just over 8 inches in 4.5 hours.
Wow. Amazing.
maybe Nathan. Maybe it's the distortion the radar is giving us. Maybe it's the distortion, the zoom distortion we have here.
Maybe it's just the eye is so disorganized now that it's raining inside the eye, and that
That's pretty
So much
and that the eye's got really big because it's dying, and it's over land. But you look at that satellite there, and it would suggest that the eye is pretty much there. But the radar says something much different, bearing in mind that satellite image is 30 minutes before the latest radar image that you're looking at.
Well,
That's pretty close. I'd say it's a couple miles even.
No, it's more than that.
True.
I'll let you know exactly how far it is on the latest image as soon as I know. If you could just keep that image up there, actually, John, that would actually benefit me.
Right here, this one?
Yes. So now I can confirm that the storm is 20 miles from Taitung City. 20 miles.
What's the satellite say, in your opinion?
That's what the satellite says.
What does the radar say? Same?
Sorry, yeah, that's what the radar says. The satellite is too difficult to pick out, but I think the radar is right, John.
Maybe the satellite is kind of shifted. Maybe the land on the satellite.
I don't think the satellite is shifted. I think it's just misleading.
Yeah, it could be misleading as the storm just gets more and more distorted because it's nearing landfall.
Yep.
You can definitely see on here. You can definitely see the mountain channel. That the mountain's just really channeling into the system right here.
yeah, you can actually see that cut right into the storm.
I mean,
David, have you received any news?
I'm assuming that where I made that line, this little circle here, I'm assuming those are all the mountains within the area. I'm assuming.
Pretty much, yes.
Masterpiece. All right.
I believe Hank has joined us.
Good evening, Hank. I mean, the fix on the eye here says it's really close. I mean, right here is the fix, which is roughly, if I had to estimate.
Well, that would be less than 10 miles off, if that was true. I don't feel it is.
It's definitely confusing. This is probably the most difficult storm I've ever tried to determine landfall location. It's really close to 121, so I'm gonna call it 121.2, and I'm gonna call that 20. 22.9. If we go over here, 22.9 is definitely not here. The eye is pretty much sitting. I mean, I think actually, Nathan, I think this is peculiar. If I zoom all the way out and compare it to the radar image right here,
It is very peculiar.
look here. On the radar, let me move this tab over.
Stevens helped you out with that buoy observation. He's done it for you. It's reporting at 4 a.m. a pressure of 970
Expected.
with winds of 55 miles an hour, gusting to 123.
Here is a comparison here of the radar and the floater imagery, and as you can see here, actually they're pretty similar. If you look at
From a distance, not up close.
But closer perspective.
Are you still on the 430 radar image? There might be a new one now.
Alright, I'll zoom out to this position, which is pretty similar to the floater. I'll scroll back up. You see the Taiwanese island is pretty much the same size in both of these images, so these are both pretty similar representations. This is definitely getting trippy here at Force 13 as I'm trying to deal with the radar being fickle and deal with the satellite being fickle.
Well, is there anything updated yet for radar?
Nothing yet. That's my response to that. That big question mark is my response to what the heck is going on. No, it's still
If only
4:30.
we had someone
Really?
on.
Shame it's not 440. It should be. Keep trying.
I'm not sure if they're tuning guitars over there. Because 440 is a standard guitar tuning.
Oh my.
Yeah, I'm really good at jokes. I am really good at jokes. Not. Peculiar. Wow. There we go. We got a similar size here. It's definitely telling a very
There's not much left for us to say at this stage. David, have you got any news for us? I know you're there now.
But just going to check something. I'm going to post the image. I think it's already made landfall.
I don't
Well,
think so.
it's possible, bearing in mind that radar image, well, the radar image, I have no idea, but the satellite image, of course, is 30 minutes behind. So
Yeah, I just updated the floater, the part of Jason's operation related to the floater. So looking at the latest imagery, which I've just downloaded, shows that it's possibly on land, or the ice on land. I'll just post it.
take the screen share if you wish.
Alright, I'll just...
I'm sure John won't mind.
Go ahead.
Yeah, which image would be the...
Whichever you
best one.
think confirms a landfall, David.
Alright, here it comes. An apology to our viewers, so I've got a head cold and... Okay, where are we? What do you reckon, Nathan?
Well,
Okay,
it's
so-
pretty much the same as what we're looking at, and I don't think it's a landfall yet.
It's close.
Devin said we have a landfall.
Yeah, well, that's Devon, but you know, it might have done. Bearing in mind that image is 49 minutes old now, it might have
Oh,
done.
that. Oh,
It's an old 20...
It's the newest we've got, but it's 49 minutes old. What it suggests is that yes, it might have made landfall by now, but I don't think it has in that picture.
We have 440.
And now the 440 image is out, and if we could just play musical screen shares for a moment, John. And the 440, I'm looking at it myself, and it's still inconclusive. The radar says for all the world that the eye is still well offshore.
Oh my.
So it gets back to what you said, the radar versus the satellite.
It would appear so, wouldn't it?
So the radar,
and in
radar
just over
would
10
be,
minutes, we'll get a new floater image, I believe. So it'll be very interesting to see what the next floater image will say.
Maybe they're lying about the photo image time. Maybe they're lying about it.
I doubt it. I mean, Stephen says, I would think the radar image would be more accurate than the satellite image, unless you're looking at visible satellite, which of course we won't have for at least another hour or two.
Putting the ISS isn't flying over it.
Well, you wouldn't see anything then either.
Yeah.
Not day.
Not until daybreak.
It stinks that this oyster storm is landfalling during the day. At least we could see it a little bit better. But we could still, it's not that murky, so we can still make it out, I guess. You're watching the rambling bit of Force 13 Live. Where we're trying to determine where the landfall is right now.
So many tabs.
Too many tabs.
Yes, too many.
Yes. What happens?
I don't think you ever shut it down your computer before, John.
I didn't shut down my computer. I just put it to sleep.
Wonder if it's overheated.
Nah.
It's easier to put the computer to sleep than switching it off because you get the headaches when you switch it on. So I just put mine in sleep mode.
Yeah. Let's
It
see.
Took me about 3 minutes to switch this one on yesterday morning, so I now used to put it in sleep mode. Easy to wake it up.
Wakey, wakey, computer.
So Nathan Nepartak, do we say it's a high range Cat 4 or mid range?
I wouldn't. I would say it's low end Cat 4 getting onto.
Low end.
Last wind speed analysis was 138 miles an hour, and the next one will probably say slightly less.
No new frames.
No new frames.
No new frames.
One person on Twitter, reading the Nepartak, has posted this comment: trying to keep my treats clean sounds like a freight train. Debris flying, pressure is crazy. Okay, report from a hotel. The winds have been smashed in, but the occupants are okay. I might just bring the screen share up, Nathan, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
All right. So James Reynolds, Earth Cut TV.
The doors broke.
You see?
Well, this thing is definitely taking its, it's really taking its toll.
Let's see what else we've got here.
Is there any live cameras in Taiwan showing
We had one, but it went down.
Oh. Could you find any others, or?
I didn't know.
Anthony Trexler King, just a quick look at his video. You see the wind Oh, no, it's very short.
Well, we know that Nepartak is very powerful.
Here's another one for Josh Borgerman, Ice Cyclone.
Oh dear, the doors are definitely getting pounded in.
Yeah, without
Those
that,
door and those
they
and those
would've
doors
blown.
broke. Those doors
That
actually
was
broke.
40 minutes ago.
I saw a picture on Twitter. Those doors actually broke. So yeah, we already got damage in already. Hoping for a new floater image. Come on, sorry, Noah. Come on, update your floaters. Taking too darn long.
Don't you read the small print, John? They do it at scheduled times.
I did read the small print. It's 25 minutes. The floater should be updated by now.
Patience. Patience on a live stream.
Well, that went out the window.
Now, look at the latest RAM image. Shows, you know, you can't argue that the storm must be making landfall right now, despite what the radar says. It seems so clear-cut that the storm is imminently making landfall right now on that latest RAM image. From half an hour ago, I may add. So I think it's safe to assume here that the storm has made landfall.
Or it's making landfall.
Well, it was making landfall half an hour ago, according to these images. I don't think we can... it's just really confused me, the radar. I don't understand it at all, but it appears that Nepartak is now over land, and I'll be assessing its intensity now, and I will tell you how strong it is
Right
at
here.
landfall.
So
Oh.
this will show how strong the Nepartak is at landfall. Either a strong Cat 3 or a weak Cat 4.
And I think it'll be Cat 4. The landfall intensity is... ...135 miles per hour.
I'd say it has made land, looking at that image currently on the screen.
And that would lead to an estimated pressure of 931 millibars.
Yeah. 2020. I'm waiting for the latest image. I mean, I haven't flicked through RAM like this before, and then floaters. I haven't really done this in a while. I've had 2 floaters running. Actually, I've
John, you got
so many floaters running.
you got a microwave?
Sadly, I don't.
Yeah, if you go to RAM and bring up the IR water vapor microwave, it's actually supporting your landfall.
Yeah, you look up that. No new frames, sadly. Come on.
Some of it's
RAM.
out of date too.
Come on, RAM, be nice. Here we go.
Some of it's not up to date, John. Not all the product.
Yeah, it stinks. Which one are you looking at? storm relative?
AMSU microwave 89 gigahertz.
Now, Taitung City is reporting 959 millibars. And I wonder whether that will be... that was at 4:45, so 15 minutes ago. So it will probably go down a little bit more. But I don't know whether Taitung City was in the centre of the eye or not.
Okay, the Himawari is lagging again.
I would suggest that Taitung would have seen the southern part of the eye, but probably not the centre of it. So, pressure, I would speculate, probably in the mid to high 940s.
9:30.
Well, it's
5 a.m.
said 9:31 on the latest analysis, but that was based off satellite observations alone. It may be incorrect and may be proved wrong by what holds a lot more stock, and that is real observations.
Josh, iCyclone says 5 a.m. Hotel restaurant destroyed, wreckage blowing into lobby, painful pulsing of ears, 900